Okay, let's get fired up here. And we're going to begin the book of Joshua. And what I did is I had the church copy this thing that I copied from Wikipedia. So, I didn't come up with this. Somebody at Wikipedia did.
Is it AI generated?
No. No. This,
Every time I see more, I try to look something up that says AI generated. Just shake my head.
now it says on the back, it says copy from Wikipedia.
I have two.
That's because for some reason I had 2 pages open. I couldn't close one. So. But this shows the kind of the outline of Joshua. Now, let me share. We really don't know much about Joshua, but we do know where the book of Joshua falls. It's right after the end of the Pentateuch. So, biblical scholars have always questioned, do we include Joshua and make a hexateuch? Pentateuch means 5. Hexateuch means 6. That, 6 books. So that thought is that's the end of the Pentateuch. The other thing is it's a history. And it's the beginning of the people of Israel in the Promised Land. So it's kind of a fulcrum, and scholars are not really sure where it belongs. But we do know that when we went through the books in the Pentateuch that we covered, we talked about Yahwist, Elohist, and Priestly. They're all combined here. It's almost impossible to say this is from the Yahwist, this is from the Elohist. There are four Yahwist, Elohist, Deuteronomist, and the Priestly. All 4 of those are sort of mashed in Joshua. There's another school that says Joshua is basically the Deuteronomist. Now, the Pentateuch, the first 5 books, there are some that believe those were written by Moses. And they're wrong.
That's what I always heard.
Yeah, people wrote, Moses wrote those. Well, we really know he didn't because it covers a long period of time. And, it just doesn't make sense. But there are very fundamentalist people who believe that. But they don't believe Joshua was written by Moses. You know why? He was dead.
Well, that doesn't matter.
Yeah. So, and there really is a question, when was Joshua written? If it's the first part of the histories, it would be Joshua through 2 Kings. Those are all the histories. And as I said before, my Old Testament professor always said that he believed the Pentateuch and Joshua were stories that were written and put in the temple. That the Holy of Holies. But there's no proof one way or the other. Because when the temple was destroyed, they would have been destroyed too. And they weren't. What we do know is that about the first 6 chapters of Joshua differ from chapter 12 and on. And we'll look at that as we go through. But it really is a story that a lot of people believe was written in the time of David. So now, when we look at Genesis, that's ancient history. But now with Joshua, we're looking at something that may be written during David's reign. So, let's jump in.
After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, son of Nun, Moses' aide, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now then, you and all these people get ready to cross the Jordan River into the land I am about to give to them, to the Israelites. I will give you every place where you set your foot, as I promised Moses. Your territory will extend from the desert to Lebanon, and from the great river, the Euphrates, all the Hittite country, to the great sea on the west. No one will be able to stand up against you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their forefathers to give to them. Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the law my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may be successful wherever you go. Do not let this book of the law depart from your mouth. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go.
Okay, let's pause there for just a minute. What do we know about Joshua? He was Moses' assistant, and he was the son of Nun. I think you read that in your. I don't see that in.
Yes, Joshua the son of Nun.
See that the Message does not give us that information. The New International Version does, but that's it.
Is Nun Moses' aide or Joshua? Joshua the son of Nun, Moses.
Well, Joshua was the son of Nun, and that's just one of the tribes that Joshua came. So he wasn't related to Moses.
Okay.
He was a completely different person than a relative of Moses. He was sort of Moses' assistant, and which is interesting because I always thought Moses' brother was his assistant. But
And who was his brother?
Aaron.
Who?
Aaron?
Yeah, I saw one of those silly videos where the guy is calling people's names in the class, and he looks and goes, Aaron? Aaron? And nobody's answering. He says, come on, don't play with me. Aaron, identify yourself. And the guy says, you mean Aaron? It's a funny video because he mispronounces, everybody's name, and whenever they correct him, he gets upset that you're correcting me. That I'm the teacher, I should know how to say these things. So here's so anyway, God is again reaffirming that just as I promised Moses, from the wilderness and this Lebanon east to the great river, the Euphrates, all the Hittite country, and then west to the great sea, it's all yours. All your life, no one will be able to hold out against you. In the same way I was with Moses, I'll be there with you. I won't give up on you. I won't leave you. Strength, courage. You're going to lead this people into the promised land. So here, at the very beginning of Joshua, we find out what his mission is. He's going to lead people into the promised land.
In the note here, in It says lead 2 million people.
That's a lot of people.
Again, that may be,
Yeah,
remember when Trump said how many people were at his
Oh,
first
yeah.
inaugural? People just come up with, whenever I see a number in scripture other than 3, 7, 10, and 12, I get suspicious.
it's just Joshua's publicist.
That's right. That's right. You know, look, you got a big job ahead of you. You got 2 million people. Can you imagine Moses taking 2 million people across the desert? Talk about herding cats.
Oh,
So, you know, I always picture that as a small group of people.
yeah.
But,
Oh, my.
all right, let's go back and pick up with verse 10.
So Joshua ordered the officers of the people, "Go through the camp and tell the people, 'Get your supplies ready. 3 days from now you will cross the Jordan, here to go in and take possession of the land the Lord your God is giving you for your own.' But to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, Joshua said, 'Remember the command that Moses the servant of the Lord gave you. The Lord your God is giving you rest and has granted you this land. Your wives, your children, and your livestock may stay in the land that Moses gave you east of the Jordan. But all your fighting men, fully armed, must cross over ahead of your brothers. You are to help your brothers until the Lord gives them rest, as he has done for you, and until they too have taken possession of the land that the Lord your God is giving them. After that you may go back and occupy your own land, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you east of the Jordan toward the sunrise.' Then they answered Joshua, 'Whatever you have commanded us we will do, and wherever you send us we will go. Just as we fully obeyed Moses, so we will obey you. Only may the Lord your God be with you as he was with Moses. Whoever rebels against your word and does not obey your words, whatever you may command them will be put to death. Only be strong and courageous.'"
Okay.
Well, I thought they were on the east side of the Jordan to cross to the west toward the Great Sea.
What's happening?
So what's going on there? Well,
Well,
all of a sudden they're, might as well go to Mecca too, huh?
you know, it's that area that is described that's going to be the promised land goes almost down to Egypt and up to where the Babylonians are, the start of the Babylonian kingdom, to the river, to the Euphrates, on the east and on the west, the Mediterranean.
Okay, you're talking about the Euphrates, but they're crossing the Jordan to go to the Promised Land.
Right.
So I guess I have a little trouble. They're already in the land east of the Jordan.
Right. So, you know, that this is one of the problems, and we'll find out when, as we go on, that whoever wrote the book of Joshua has a much greater understanding of the tribes of Judah and Benjamin than that was the southern kingdom, than he does of the northern kingdom.
What's the half tribe of Manasseh? The half tribe that refers to in there of Manasseh.
I'm not sure.
Is that Joseph's sons, Ephraim and Manasseh? Or not? 'Cause
That could be.
we need Kathy.
Yeah.
That's verse 12.
Is she doing
He addressed the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half tribe of Manasseh. Remember what Moses, I don't know, the half tribe of Manasseh. I'll have to look into that.
It's very important that we know that.
The rest of our faith rests on that.
Exactly.
Wait, I'm gonna look. I can. Oh, I picked up the wrong thing. Because
She
Joseph,
died,
I mean,
2 days ago. You didn't see the email?
Okay, emails. And she's seen them through my phone, so.
Are you still in are you looking at the Joshua?
Keep reading the footnotes there. What they say.
it is, that's who they are. Joseph, when Joseph was in Egypt, he got married and he had Ephraim and Manasseh. And then when Jacob and all of them came down to Egypt, Jacob gave Joseph's 2 sons the inheritance as well. Somehow.
You, Joseph's.
Yeah. In Genesis 48. I only remembered that because I just heard somebody talking about it, about the last, when Joseph died and was going and said not to bury him in Egypt, just like Jacob said not to. So that's how I
Yeah, and then
to look.
in Deuteronomy, they talked about burying them in
That's right.
the promised land,
Yeah.
although they weren't in the promised land at that point. So, a lot of these things, I sometimes wonder how well they knew their own history.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got somebody writing and somebody,
But 500 years, supposedly.
yeah, you would think that,
Well, you're sitting around the campfire one night telling their story, so.
I know there are times that, I'll think of something and I said to my sister, well, isn't that the time you went out? And she goes, no, I never did that. Our memories, and I know my memory now is nowhere close to what it used to be.
I'm not sure what I had for breakfast.
I'm not,
Yeah, did I even eat?
yeah, that's, I was going to say,
So I
I'm not
better
sure.
eat again, just in case.
I fed the cat.
Oh, yeah.
That he won't let me forget. He's not any bigger than that.
All right, let's get on to now. We're going to run into Rahab. That's one of the names I can actually pronounce in chapter 2. Now, there are a lot of references from the Old Testament and the New Testament, but Rahab is mentioned 3 times of significance. The first one is in the family tree given in Matthew. Rahab, it says, Solomon and had Boaz. His mother was Rahab. And then it says Boaz had Obed. Ruth was the mother. Here we have in this genealogy, 2 women are mentioned. Highly unusual for the Jews to be mentioning the women. Always mentioned. Remember when we found Joshua, it said Joshua, the son of Nun. They didn't tell who his mother was. But when we get to Matthew, Rahab is mentioned. And that's highly unusual for them to have mentioned a woman in the genealogy. So Rahab played a very important role. It's also she's mentioned in Hebrews and one other spot. So,
Did
Josh-
she work with cloth and purple?
pardon?
Rahab, was she the one that was did purple, worked in purple, the clothes?
I think so.
Yeah.
So let's find out what role she plays now in Joshua.
Then Joshua son of Nun secretly sent 2 spies from Shittim. Go look over the land, he said, especially Jericho. So they went and entered the house of a prostitute named Rahab and stayed there. The king of Jericho was told, look, some of the Israelites have come here tonight to spy out the land. So the king of Jericho sent this message to Rahab. Bring out the men who came to you and entered your house, because they have come to spy out the whole land." But the woman had taken the 2 men and hidden them. She said, "Yes, the men came to me, but I did not know where they had come from. At dusk, when it was time to close the city gate, the men left. I don't know which way they went. Go after them quickly. You may catch up with them." But she had taken them under the roof and hidden them under the stalks of flax she had laid out on the roof. So the men set out in pursuit of the spies on the road that leads to the fords of the Jordan. And as soon as the pursuers had gone out, the gate was shut. Before the spies lay down for the night, she went up on the roof and said to them, "I know that the Lord has given this land to you, and that a great fear of you has fallen on us, so that all who live in this country are melting in fear because of you. We have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to Sihon and Og, the 2 kings of the Amorites east of the Jordan, whom you completely destroyed. When we heard of it, our hearts melted, and everyone's courage failed because of you. For the Lord your God is God in heaven above and on the earth below. Now then, please swear to me by the Lord that you will show kindness to my family, because I have shown kindness to you. Give me a sure sign that you will spare the lives of my father and mother, my brothers and sisters, and all who belong to them, and that you will save us from death." "Our lives for your lives," the men assured her. "If you don't tell what we are doing, we will treat you kindly and faithfully when the Lord gives us the land." So she led them down by a rope through the window, for the house she lived in was part of the city wall. Now she had said to them, "Go to the hills so the pursuers will not find you. Hide yourselves there 3 days until they return, and then go on your way."
Okay, let's stop for just a minute. Hide yourself how long? 3 days. And then they will be revealed. Here the number 3, has popped up. And it'll pop up a couple more times. But that 3 days. Now, for kids who say, "Yeah, I don't know, I can't read the Bible." This is a spy story.
Yeah.
You can see it as a cartoon.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can see it as a movie. And, get that woman who did the Blue Jeans ad to play Rahab. And, a couple hunks to play the guys that she's luring down. I mean, for the Jews, when they hear this story, they got to say, "Wow, this is kind of cool." And, she's lying to the other people. She's hiding the spies. She's luring them down, telling them where to hide. And, the king knows that they're spies. I mean, this is great stuff.
Did she not have a husband? We never hear of a husband.
Never
She's
mentioned.
a harlot.
Well, did it say that?
I thought it did.
Yeah,
Yeah, prostitute.
Prostitute.
Yeah.
mine I think said harlot.
Well,
Same thing.
so somebody who is perpetuating evil is doing good.
That's nice to hear.
And she gets her name in the book. I mean, again, women are not mentioned much in the Old Testament. Remember, women didn't play an important role except in stories like this. So let's go on and find out what's going to happen.
I like that she knew that the land was theirs.
Yes.
Somehow she had received God's words somehow.
Well, and do you find it interesting that God has promised this land to his chosen people, but there's somebody else living there? And, I'm thinking, it wasn't like it was a vacant lot. I mean, there are people there, and they're going to march in and conquer them. So, when the Israelites say today, this is our land promised by God, and they're going to go to battle for it, there's a catch there. And I'm not saying they shouldn't, but I am saying that, if you look, world history is history of people conquering other lands. I mean, look, Russia is trying to take back Ukraine, which was part of Russia. We took land from Native Americans, and the Spanish came over and conquered most of South America. I remember I was not a whole lot younger than I am now when I finally made the connection, especially when we went to Spain and they spoke Spanish. I thought, well, I'll be darned. They speak that in Mexico, too.
And if you go to Brazil, you'd find out some people speak Portuguese.
Yeah. The Portuguese is spoken in Brazil. In fact, a lot of the waitresses working in some of the restaurants we ate, we said, where are you from? Portugal. The guy who gave us the little ride around the old city in Lisbon, we said, where are you from? He said, I'm from Portugal. I said, what are you doing here?
He
said,
in Portugal. I
Hmm?
mean, he's from Brazil.
He's from Brazil. Yeah, I'm sorry. He's from Brazil. And I said, what are you doing here? He said,
That's the mother country.
just want to take a break and come over here and spend some time. He said, I'll go back to Brazil. But he said, I speak Portuguese. I wasn't going to go to Spain. I wasn't going to go, this is a place where they speak our language. And I thought, I reflected on that as he's taking us up and down these hills. I'm thinking two things. One, thank God we don't have to walk these hills.
Yeah.
And two, it's wonderful. This guy's gone home. That's his home. And, he feels an affinity for it. He speaks the language. He knows the tradition. Now, he comes from a country that was conquered by the Portuguese. But that's our history. I mean, remember the Roman Empire was a big empire.
Oh, God.
I mean, it went all the way up into England, over into Spain, North Africa, and to the east, and what's now Afghanistan and Iran. They conquered all that. Now, they were good conquerors because they said, you want to worship your God? Have at it. Send us the tribute. Don't say anything bad. And they built roads. I mean, now, Babylon, when they conquered someone, they weren't as nice. And the Babylonian Empire was large, not as large as the Roman Empire, but it was a big area. But they weren't as nice as the Romans. In fact, when they conquered Israel, during the period of the Old Testament, who did they take back to Babylon? The people who were artisans,
Yeah, the best.
who were good people. That's who they wanted, and they took them to Babylon. Not unlike what we're saying today. If you want to immigrate here, you better not be a drug dealer, a child molester. I mean, countries like to have the cream of the crop. Now, how you get there is a whole different political story. But anyway,
The man said to her, "This oath you made us swear will not be binding on us unless, when we enter the land, you have tied this scarlet cord in the window through which you let us down, and unless you have brought your father and mother, your brothers, and all your family into your house. If anyone goes outside your house into the street, His blood will be on his own head. We will not be responsible. As for anyone who is in the house with you, his blood will be on our head if a hand is laid on him. But if you tell what we are doing, we will be released from the oath you made us swear." "Agreed," she replied. "Let it be as you say." So she sent them away, and they departed, and she tied the scarlet cord in the window. When they left, they went into the hills and stayed there 3 days, until the pursuers had searched all along the road and returned without finding them. Then the 2 men started back. They went down out of the hills, forded the river, and came to Joshua son of Nun, and told him everything that had happened to them. They said to Joshua, "The Lord has surely given the whole land into our hands. All the people are melting in fear because of us."
Ooh. So they start before the conquer, they build a little terrorism. Scare the hell out of them. And, but you notice, if she wants to save her family, her mom, her dad, her brother, sister, whole family's got to go to her house and stay in her house. If they leave that house, they're dead. And I like the way the story is told. But for everyone within the house, we take full responsibility. If anyone lays a hand on one of anyone who goes out the door of your house into the streets and is killed, it's his own fault.
Right.
And we aren't responsible. So, here we've got responsibility being built into this story. And she's hanging you said red cord?
Scarlet. Mine says scarlet.
Scarlet. Yeah. See, that may be where you get
Yeah.
that she did. And remember, scarlet was the color for royalty.
Yeah.
That,
Well, what was purple then?
well, isn't purple scarlet?
Oh, I don't know.
It's a reddish
I don't
purple.
know, reddish.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's
My Bible says crimson, so.
crimson. So, I get
Oh, that's
confused because
red.
sometimes I see bishops with red shirts, sometimes with black shirts, stole. I mean, the colors in the church, it's like now.
My color palette was about 3 or 4, maybe 6 or 7 colors. And of course, Charlotte's was 500.
Yeah.
And they each had a different name,
Oh, yes.
Well, see, it's now, I don't know where blue during Advent came from. When I began my ministry, you wore purple during Advent.
Baby boys wear blue.
Yeah. Yeah, in honor of the Nativity,
Yeah.
Jesus was a little boy. But I refuse to buy another stole
Yeah.
because I'm close. My exit's coming up, and I don't need to have a lot of vestments. So I'm going to wear my purple,
Well, good for you.
and I'll tell people it looks blue to me.
Oh, purple's a good color.
Yes. All right. Let's go to the Jordan.
Early in the morning, Joshua and all the Israelites set out from Shittim and went to the Jordan, where they camped before crossing over. After 3 days, the officers went throughout the camp, giving orders to the people. "When you see the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord your God, and the priests who are Levites carrying it, you are to move out from your positions and follow it. Then you will know which way to go, since you have never been this way before. But keep a distance of about 1,000 yards between you and the ark. Do not go near it." Joshua told the people, "Consecrate yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do amazing things among you." Joshua said to the priests, "Take up the Ark of the Covenant and pass on ahead of the people." So they took it up and went ahead of them. And the Lord said to Joshua, "Today I will begin to exalt you in the eyes of all Israel, so they may know that I am with you as I was with Moses. Tell the priests who carry the Ark of the Covenant, when you reach the edge of the Jordan's waters, go and stand in the river. Joshua said to the Israelites, "Come here and listen to the words of the Lord your God. This is how you will know that the living God is among you, and that he will certainly drive out before you the Canaanites, Hittites, Hivites, Perizzites, Girgashites, Amorites, and Jebusites. See,
Sounds great.
see, the ark of the covenant of the Lord of all the earth will go into the Jordan ahead of you. Now then, choose 12 men from the tribes of Israel, one from each tribe. And as soon as the priests who carry the ark of the Lord of all the earth, set foot in the Jordan, its waters flowing downstream will be cut off and stand up in a heap."
Okay, let's pause there for just a minute. There are a couple things I wanted to point out. What was the warning about the ark? Don't get close. Don't touch it.
And the distance was a long distance.
Yes.
1,800.
See,
Right.
the ark should never be touched.
Yeah.
And remember when David, when he united the two kingdoms, the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom, the way he did it is by taking the Ark of the Covenant and putting it in the tent of meeting. The ark was symbolic of the northern kingdom, and the tent of meeting symbolic of the southern kingdom. And while David is dancing nude in front of the ark, one of the guys that's with him trips, and he grabbed the ark to stabilize himself, and he was dead. So you don't want to touch that. The other thing is, it says, get 12 people, one from each tribe. I always feel bad about the tribe of Levi, because they never got land, and they were the priestly class. Can you imagine, having somebody from the tribe of Levi going to fight? No, I don't think we ought to fight them. That would be bad. So here we forget when we read something like that. And they said they take one from each tribe. Levi doesn't have that many people. They're a priestly class. So, and here the other thing, the third thing that pops up in this chapter is they're going to take the ark and walk into the water with it. And what happens with the water? Pardon.
Yeah.
See, this is the same thing
Red Sea.
that Moses did in stopping the Red Sea. But there was no, lifting of the hand. None of those Charlton Heston moves. This time they just take the ark, which the ark represents God, and that's in effect saying, God wants this river to stop so my soldiers can get in this land and take it over. So, go on.
So when the people broke camp to cross the Jordan, the priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant went ahead of them. Now the Jordan is at flood stage all during harvest. Yet as soon as the priests who carried the ark reached the Jordan and their feet touched the water's edge, the water from upstream stopped flowing. It piled up in a heap a great distance away at a town called Adam in the vicinity of Zarethan, while the water flowing down to the sea of the Arabah, the Salt Sea, was completely cut off. So the people crossed over opposite Jericho. The priests who carried the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord stood firm on dry ground in the middle of the Jordan, while all Israel passed by until the whole nation had completed the crossing on dry ground.
The message, I love the way it ends. It says, and not one wet foot.
Yeah.
Now, I know when you stop a river like that, there's going to be mud. So we're kind of, I think, using artistic license. We're just saying that they got across. The other thing is, you said there were 2 million people. How long would it take 2 million people
Exactly.
plus livestock. But if you're planning a sneak attack, kiss that goodbye.
And they were to follow half a mile behind the ark.
Yeah,
They give the ground time to dry out, so
I guess.
they don't get their feet wet.
Well, maybe the magic driver.
Yeah. Can we get into chapter 4?
There's a footnote here in this version. In a 1927 earthquake caused the 40-foot clay banks of the Jordan River to collapse, totally damming the Jordan for 21 hours. So it's happened
Yeah.
since then, I guess. Okay.
Who's got the ark? Get the ark out of the river.
When the whole nation had finished crossing the Jordan, the Lord said to Joshua, "Choose 12 men from among the people, one from each tribe, and tell them to take up 12 stones from the middle of the Jordan, from right where the priests stood, and to carry them over with you and put them down at the place where you stay tonight." So Joshua called together the 12 men he had appointed from the Israelites, one from each tribe, and said to them, "Go over before the ark of the Lord your God into the middle of the Jordan. Each of you is to take up a stone on his shoulder, according to the number of the tribes of the Israelites, to serve as a sign among you. In the future, when your children ask you, 'What do these stones mean?' tell them that the flow of the Jordan was cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When it crossed the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off. These stones are to be a memorial to the people of Israel forever." So the Israelites did as Joshua commanded them. They took 12 stones from the middle of the Jordan, according to the number of the tribes of the Israelites, as the Lord had told Joshua. And they carried them over with them to their camp, where they put them down. Joshua set up the 12 stones that had been in the middle of the Jordan at the spot where the priests who carried the Ark of the Covenant had stood, and they are there to this day. Now the priests who carried the ark remained standing in the middle of the Jordan until everything the Lord had commanded Joshua was done by the people, just as Moses had directed Joshua. The people hurried over, and as soon as all of them had crossed, the ark of the Lord and the priests came to the other side while the people watched. The men of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh crossed over, armed, in front of the Israelites as Moses had directed them. About 40,000 armed for battle crossed over before the Lord to the plains of Jericho for war. That day the Lord exalted Joshua in the sight of all Israel, and they revered him all the days of his life, just as they had revered Moses.
Okay, we'll stop there. I just want to get through 3.5 chapters because we're moving a little faster than we have been in Deuteronomy. But can you imagine? They've got 10,000 people. If we had 10,000 people cross the Arkansas River, we'd see a big group of people.
Yeah.
And these stones, there could be some ceremonial reason for that. Remember the Ebenezer? They built the Ebenezer, the stones that were assigned, that's the place where the battle took place and they won. Well, there are probably 12 stones, big stones, somewhere along the Jordan. And when people say, "What are those?" they say, those represent the 12 tribes. You know, they give meaning to something that's insignificant, I guess. It's like, you know, when we took the boat trip before we left Portugal, you know, they would stop, the guy in the boat would stop and he said, "Now look at those two stones, they're kissing." Well, it looked like two people kissing. And, you know, we do that when we see things. And, you know, that's certainly they were doing back then. people say, hey, what's the deal on those 12 stones? Well, that's the place where we crossed. Is it? I don't know. But it's a nice memory. It's like when my
Those
friend,
stones are still there today.
yeah,
Well, that was when they wrote that was last year.
yeah. It's like when my friend went to Jerusalem and they were talking about the guide was a Palestinian, and he was saying, this is the spot where Jesus was baptized.
Yeah.
And my friend Tom said, you mean right here? And he says, well, actually, it's about a half a mile upriver, but they're fighting up there and we can't go. So they tell you a story. And that way Tom was able to say, I was at the spot where Jesus was baptized. Maybe it was, maybe it isn't. All thing we know is the water was not the same. So, all right, we'll pick up halfway through chapter 4 next week. Are you